Educast, reforming the education sector.
Is education totally a scam? That's what we are diving into. Is education totally a scam? Because recently people have been pushing education as a scam in the society. Trends and issues in Nigeria is totally making things look like education is a scam. But I don't think education is totally a scam. If it is a scam actually, but I don't think that way. I think we should see the thought pattern of my co-host here. What do you think?
Well, I just also say that education is not a scam. Education has a lot of advantages, and even though everything that has advantages also have disadvantages, but we can say that the advantages far outweighs the disadvantages. No one ever gets into education and comes out regretting. You can regret maybe wasting a little time getting the certificate and all of that, but no one actually regrets the education they have acquired as long as you went into it with your mind, knowing what you went to do there. The advantages will always outweigh those little disadvantages. So education is totally not a scam.
Okay. To me, I really don't really get it when people say education is totally a scam. No, but I still equally dive into their thought patterns. Most of the people that say education is a scam are really relating to the issues and trends in the society. And majorly what they think about the society is about the joblessness, the way education is keeping them, and they don't have anything worthwhile to show off that they went to school. Most people, after their school, come back to drag businesses with people they left at home. Some equally go to school and then finally couldn't meet up because of the way the taxing, what I mean is the financing and everything goes. So to such person, he would actually say education is a scam. So I don't really get it when people say that, but me, I'm taking it to be the thought patterns of those. And to them, I believe the joblessness in Nigeria or something like that may equally promote that point. Education is a scam. But I want to ask you, my comrade, doesn't it imply or supposed to mean that anybody that went to school is supposed to have something after school to show off that this is what I actually did in school, and this is what I'm actually supposed to show. This is the course I read, and this is what I'm supposed to be portraying to the society. If yes, what really happened to
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that question. I feel the major issue in the educational system, why people see it that way, is because we've not invested in the practical aspects of education. Apart from the core, maybe professional courses or medical courses where students get to practicalize when they are still in school, how many departments take students through the practical aspects of that course, whereby they can survive even on their own, develop jobs on their own outside school. You see, it becomes difficult. For instance, a student who is studying mass communication, we know these students are meant to, or for someone who is studying mass communication, is meant to work, in a media house, as a journalist, in the radio station. There are a lot of job opportunities. But how many times have the educational system invested in these practical aspects of education? This is a problem. It doesn't totally mean the education is a scam. Of course, they are gaining the theoretical aspects of that knowledge. But are they gaining the practical aspects? It becomes a problem. So you see someone who has spent 4 years or 5 years in school studying engineering, and he comes out of school and he doesn't know much about the practical aspect, and he now starts learning work under someone who maybe didn't go to school in order to become a true electrician or practice the practical aspect of the engineering. It doesn't mean the knowledge he has gotten is a waste. If he combines the knowledge and the practical aspect, he will make ends meet very well. But the problem now is the practical aspect. I feel if the narrative is changed more towards the practical aspect, this area of school is a scam because they are feeling that people who have this practical, who have skills, survive more than people who just know the theory will be solved. That's it.
Wow, wow. So you are equally saying that Nigerian education, or the people, the system they use in financing our education, or the authorities involved, doesn't want to invest largely on the education sector. Is that what you are trying to tell me?
I'm not telling the authority do not want to invest. The authorities have enough resources to invest in the educational system, enough resources to invest in the educational system. But I feel they have not thought it wise to invest in the educational system. It has to be those at the helm of affairs, the ministers of education, the commissioners of education, and those under them, those in the ministry, taking that bold step to change the narrative. It doesn't necessarily mean they don't want to, but do they have enough information to want to do this thing? That's why we have podcasts like this, reaching out to massive people who in turn, I know people in the ministry will also be listening, who in turn can change the narrative, and talk to people who can change things, people at the helm of affairs, people in the ministries of education, who can change this narrative, try to invest more in this practical aspect. Because if the government invests in this practical aspect very well, the problem of job creation is already solved. Because if I come out of school and I already know the practical aspect of of what I studied, I really don't need any company to employ me. I can create jobs and become an employer of labor myself. Thank you.
Wow, wow. That's a very nice thought pattern. See, like I'm getting now, I think we are the problem of ourselves. Sometimes there are things that we are supposed to shout out to the public that we don't actually do in Nigeria here. You get? There are things we are supposed to voice out sometimes. Tell the people that, see, the system of this is not working for us. Your system of education is not actually working for us. We have been graduating and we are not seeing a corresponding value to what we did in school. I found out that recently there is a way Nigerian parents behave. You see somebody who has an interest in a career pattern, or he has a choice about a particular career, then you are looking at the person doing well in that choice, but you yourself, you deem it fit, or you choose a particular area, a specific area for the child. It doesn't really make sense. You find somebody is getting an A in government and maybe a B or a C in biology. You understand? The father will bring him down. Why do you want to do law? Something like that. Why not do medicine? That's what doing. You are frustrating the child. Those kind of people don't have any reason to be in school.
Just like you said, someone who is meant to study medicine, his passion, our passion has always been to be a medical doctor. And maybe the first time the person writes JAM and the person doesn't get up to that score. And next thing, the parents, your father or mother is looking at, you're the only one still at home. The other family, your car for is already in school. The other family, Ugoke, is already in school. So no, it's just, since your score is just 200, go and study biology education. There's nothing that concerns that child with biology education. There's nothing that concerns that child with teaching. The child doesn't want to teach. The child is not going to be passionate about teaching. And you're sending that child to go and study a course because you feel maybe they have a lower cutoff mark. That's the narrative. Yes, those people it's actually a challenge. That's where you see the fact that a lot of students are unserious. So yes, those people should not be in school, but that doesn't really mean education isn't for everyone.
No. To some extent, I should adapt the fact that education is for everybody. Yes. Education is for them somehow, if you look at it somehow. But from the fact that they are not in their good position, they are not supposed to be in school.
Exactly.
You understand? There is a place for position in everybody. That's what I'm driving at. What I'm driving at is the fact that education, there is a place for everybody. But for some, if displaced, that particular kind of narrowing it down to the particular person is not that particular field is venturing. Sometimes it's not supposed to be for them. Maybe from my context now, it's a little bit like a deviation, like saying education is meant for people, each person, but specifically for a particular point. We should check where and what is obtainable, what is really meant for this person before pushing it in good person. The person or the child should check, because what UNESCO and then Nigerian government is fighting for is education for all, actually. You understand? And from their narratives, it seems their own point of view is really a good one, a valid point. Because they even developed a technology or developed special educations for the weak, for the nomads, virtually all students, the deformed, every kind of student has a special. But the problem now is left for the children, is left for the father to check and look at the child's capability, the child's deformity, and the child's interest before putting anybody inside school. Because once the narrative of all Nigeria is that education is for everybody, they just carry it to the head. And once it's done, you go and frustrate the child in the school. You understand? They just have that mind, education is for all, and then you carry the child and go and frustrate. But that's not the fact. That's not what's supposed to be obtainable. What we should be talking about here in Nigeria is my child capable of this? Can my child handle this? I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yes, I do.
So that's the point we should drive at as a Nigerian. Is my child capable of becoming a medical doctor? Don't frustrate that child. Is my child capable of becoming a nurse? Is my child capable of becoming a lawyer? So Nigerian government should equally work on that. That education for everybody, education, they should implement it. Most times when you have a net or this meeting they used to go for, you find out that they only talk about nomadic education. That's the so target of them. That education, the technology to make all nomads. You've not heard about. Doesn't mean that people that are at home doesn't need that same education.
I understand your point. You know, people should have the kind of education that is suitable for them.
Yes, everybody.
The major for him, the major thing in the youth service of that 1 year is those 3 weeks in camp, because in those 3 weeks you get to meet people from various walks of life, you get to interact, share contacts, and it's some of those people that you meet for my appointments later on. Some of those people will still come to you, maybe from various fields, and that's one thing school does for you, meeting a lot of people in various areas. The chance now I become the governor of the state. I won't just come and pick up somebody from nowhere to come and become, let me say, the Minister of Information. I have someone that I know when he was in school was very good in mass communication. In fact, he was the best student, and I know he's doing well now. Why not just pick him and say, you can do this because this is your area. I know someone in agricultural department that has been very good, in his own field. I pick him and say, this is the area. I know this is your area. Focus on this. Become maybe the Commissioner of Agriculture. That's what education does to you.
Is it true that there are some people that are not supposed to go to school at all? Like, what are you thinking? People that are not supposed to go to school at all?
I for one feel school is for everybody. School is for everybody, no matter the gender, no matter the academic or sociological background, no matter how the person is born. Because even physically challenged people even reach the hem of the academic. They are physically challenged people that are professors. So education is for everybody, even though some people are not gifted accordingly, educational wise. But I feel education is for everybody, depending on how much you can handle, or depending on the level of the education you can handle. But generally, it's for everybody.
So what do you think about this particular question? Generally, how do you feel now about this education stuff? Is it really a scam?
Okay, as a concluding statement, dear viewers, I will say education is not a scam. Just that we have a lot of misplaced priorities in the educational system. I feel if everybody is being educated according to their strengths and not just their weaknesses, everybody is being educated according to their interests. We'll be able to sort this issue of education in a scam. Education is not a scam. So parents, the government, a lot of stakeholders have a big role to play in making sure we change this narrative of education being looked at like a scam. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pascal. I've equally gotten to understand that education is not really a scam. It's just that the way things are going in Nigeria, it looks totally like a scam. There are other countries' educations are working. But I believe our country here should really look at what should we do to make this thing work.
Educast, reforming the education sector.